In today's episode, we are going to take a look at the definitive handbook on how to make graphene, just published by a great group of people. We are also going to take a look at a chain of video game themed hotels. You might be pretty amazed by who's sponsoring this one. We're going to then step into giant robots, giant walking robots being made by who else but Japan. It's a guarantee. And then we're going to finish up today with two stories about NASA. One's a little bit of bad news, but it's not horrible. And the commercialization of the space station. I'm Zach. This is ZakDTV, and let's start right off with Graphene. Graphene Flagship is a EU-funded research group that handles, obviously, graphene. Well, they have put out a paper. They're calling it a paper. This is a book. Production and processing of graphene and related materials. This book is over 280 pages, 1,500 references, and authored by 70 people. There are 70 authors in the credits. This is a free to download PDF, and it will give you all the information you need to know. One of the biggest problems there has been with graphene and why we're not seeing it more commercially available is because there's so much information spread over so many different sources, so much of it's bad information. There's no set standards as to what style of graphene is what quality is what. There's no standards, there's no checks, there's no balances. It's hard to implement a material like that. Well, Graphene Flagship decided they were going to do something about this. And their resolution was to make this book. This is basically giving industry standards. It covers everything for if you're a beginner all the way up to expert level. It includes techniques to make it, recipes for graphene, and different graphene related materials. So we're talking if you want to learn how to dope your graphene with nickel atoms or something to that effect, it can show you how to do it. It also covers some common tech problems that are out there, things you might run into in different production techniques and how to correct them. Like I said, this is a definitive guide. Andrea C. Ferrari, Graphene Flagship, this is our science and tech officer, stated that researchers have already shown at least 1,800 different layered materials exist, and only a handful of those have been investigated to date. This authoritative guide will help researchers in academia and industry plan their large-scale and reproducible production of graphene, drawing from the experience developed on graphene itself. In the video that was released with this, they do state this is 10 years worth of research compiled from around the globe into this paper. Guys, if you're into graphene research, the link is down below. It is a free open source or open access, meaning anyone can access this. It is totally free to download it and use this information. Graphene Flagship wants this to be the definitive guide, the ultimate guide for moving forward with graphene production and bringing it into the world. I think this is something we've absolutely needed, and I'm going to be glad to see you guys downloading it. The link is in the description down below. Make sure to download this. I got flipping through it a little bit. It's not an easy read, but I'll tell you what, if you're interested in the material and the processes behind it and what it can do, this is where you need to start. Moving on from that, let's take a look at Atari hotels. I know when you think Atari, you're thinking Pitfall, you're thinking Missile Command, or maybe you're even a little more advanced and thinking the Atari Jaguar. How many of you remember that one, huh? Well, this isn't any of that. This is a hotel chain with 8 total Atari hotels planned. These are just renderings for what they're going to look like. They're supposed to break ground on one mid-2020 in Phoenix, Arizona. That's right. These are a thing. They're in the works. Atari has teamed up with project group GSD Group and real estate developer True North Studio. And they're going to be in Las Vegas, Denver, Chicago, Austin, Seattle, San Francisco, and San Jose. They will, of course, if they're going to be Atari representative hotels, they have to have something to do with gaming. They say here that it will be virtual reality and augmented reality entertainment and gaming sections, and they plan to design these so they can hold esports there. Okay, pretty cool. I bet you the suites and stuff are going to be pretty neat too. if you're into gaming or electronics, computers, that kind of stuff. But really, how do you play the nostalgia any better than building hotels that look like these, huh? Let's move on now from video game themed hotels into the wonderful world of living Gundam. Yep, I told you Japan is working on a real life 60-foot tall walking robot. Well, they're doing it in the form of a Gundam. What else would you do? And the original creator of the Gundam, he created him back in like 1979, Yoshiyuki Tomino, is involved in the project. Yes, he is. It's pretty cool. The group doing this is known as Gundam Factory. They have made life-size models of Gundam before. They've made these ones here. But this will be the first one that will walk under its own power. They say this beast is going to weigh 25 tons. 25 tons. Can you imagine what that's going to take to move around? Here it is modeled, though, by University of Tokyo, JSK Labs. And they're showing how it could work. It could walk. And we all know that, you know, hey, if you do it on the computer, you do it in real life, right? Wrong. You know, this thing is huge. Absolutely huge. And it will have 24 degrees of freedom, which is pretty great. 24 different jointed areas. Now, I believe they're probably considering all its fully jointed hands. Wrists are going to rotate. So then you have a couple elbows, maybe a little bit of shoulder flex. And I imagine very, very limited, maybe 3 spots down the legs where this thing can move, which I mean would be like human legs. But I wonder even about that. It's going to have to be a shuffling movement. 25 tons moving upright on 2 legs. It's kind of scary. And, well, I'll tell you what, Gundam Factory thought that too. Here's the layout for their display area. You can see the observation area is well back and away from the Gundam and the Gundam carrier. This will have a specialized service platform, so all those Gundam mechanics can go and work on it. While this is pretty cool looking, I love the idea of it. You know, I've got a smile on my face I can't put away just looking at this article. I got to go through all their YouTube videos and everything. I'll link their YouTube channel. I'll link stuff for this for everybody else. It's not really a Gundam. Sorry. It is a purpose-built machine in what I believe is fiberglass cladding. Yeah, not quite as cool as I originally was hoping, but it's still rather neat. According to their website, right here on the front page of their website, this is going to show October of 2020. October 1st through 3rd is going to be its premiere date. This thing is going to step out and walk. Well, let's move then to my final 2 stories of the day. We will take a look at some bad news coming out of NASA. NASA Voyager 2, the Voyager 2 satellite. It's been in flight now for over 40 years. That's a long time. It is out of our solar system. It is absolutely out of our solar system. Well, it is facing some problems. It was supposed to complete a turn to calibrate its magnetic field equipment, and it failed during that turn, leaving 2 very power-hungry devices on at the time. It went into a lockdown mode. Now, they have stated they were able to get one of those devices off. They still don't know what caused the problem, what caused it to go into lockdown. The lockdown is a safety feature, so it did what it was supposed to do, but now they're stuck here trying to figure out how to get this thing back online. The downside for it is it takes 17 hours to get a signal there and 17 hours to get a signal back. That is how far out beyond Pluto this thing is. Pretty amazing, right? So as of today, they really don't know exactly what's going on. You know, it takes better than a day to communicate one time with the thing. So, day and a half. So, it's going to take a while to get this figured out. Good luck, NASA. I think you guys can do this. Some of the smartest people in the world. You should be able to do this. And finally, I don't know how I feel about this one. I feel good about it, but at the same time, I kind of don't. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. NASA has announced the first commercial module that will be attached to the ISS. This is a commercial habitable module. This is a space hotel being attached to the space station. And their choice was Houston-based Axiom Space. This will be the first commercial module. This will be the first hotel in space, and it is the first part of what's going to become the Axiom segment. They will have a research and manufacturing area put in. They will have a crew habitat and a large Earth viewing observatory, just a huge windowed area where they could view Earth from. But when they decommission in 2030, Axiom will fly up their own power segment and attach it to the Axiom part and decouple everything that's theirs from the ISS. And then I guess we'll probably deorbit the space station. I'm not sure what's going on there because that's pretty international. I don't know if Russia will want to keep using it or whatever. But at that point in 2030, Axiom will be a solo venture commercial space station. Standalone. This first module is supposed to go up in 2024, so we're still 4 years away, but that's not a lot of time when it comes to space launches. Now, as it stands, Axiom says they want to run like 2 or 3 missions a year to the space station, but that is only the beginning. And I guess we'll have to see what the market can bear and how many people actually want to go stay on the space station. And I'd imagine, too, there's probably some other uses here. There's things that can be manufactured in space that we can't manufacture here on the ground, or it'd be cheaper to manufacture in zero gravity. This is a cool technology, and it's going to bring space a little bit closer to the people. And on that note, I think I'm going to wrap it up. I want to thank everybody who stayed around to the end. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to click that like button, share it with your friends, and if you're new here, why don't you go ahead and subscribe. I try to get my videos out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I've always had a problem doing it. I'm getting better every time. Until next time, I guess just have fun, be safe, and I'll see you guys on Friday.